Hey guys, Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. What's going on, guys? Hopefully this video finds you all doing well. I'm doing fantastic, doing great. For those of you who care, probably about 3 of you, but I think I've told you guys a few times now that me and my son are on this mission to beat all the Castlevania games, starting with like Nintendo 8-bit era. So we've done now 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have done, we just finished Bloodlines for Sega Genesis, so we're on Super Castlevania for Super Nintendo, and boy, it is a blast. We're watching this YouTube channel called You Can Beat Video Games with the letter U, and he basically walks you through all these retro games, like, you know, not speed running, but just like guiding you through how to beat games if you run into really challenging areas. We're loving it, so I give it to he's 5, you know, I give it to my son, and he kind of plays like the easy parts, you know, and then I handle the hard parts, and I don't know. I'm having a blast with it. So we celebrate like, you know, we're ringing in the new year when we beat one of these games. We take down Dracula. Anyway, guys, send some positive vibes your way as well. Hopefully you're all doing well. I just feel like every time I look at my phone or the news or anything, I'm just bombarded with negativity and hostility. So, you know, I don't do a great job at it, but try to spread a little bit of the opposite of that, a little bit of maybe joy, a little you know, positivity your way every day here on the channel. So anyway, guys, today we're going to do something that I probably shouldn't be doing, honestly. I did the top 15 epics, and I really liked that video. I really enjoyed it. You know, a day or two ago, I uploaded the video. And a bunch of you guys in the comments were like, do the same thing for rares and legendaries, Ash. Do it. I'm going to tackle legendaries. I'm going to do top 25 legendaries in the game. I just want to give you the biggest disclaimer ever, that this is my opinion. These are champions that I like. You could very well add probably another 25 champions to this list who belong in the top 25. And it always depends on what you need on your team. You know, like the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but also the account owner, right? Because you might need a reviver, you know, therefore a reviver might be way more valuable to you. You might need a really solid ally protection champion. So these are just kind of grading these champions on their overall utility, their overall strength, and how many different ways I can use these champions, different areas in the game. But again, my own biases is going to be in here as well. So disclaimer out of the way. Let's go ahead and get to it here, guys. I have a lot of new champions. Man, I was saying this on the Epic video too, but we haven't done a video like this in a long time, you know, on the channel. So there's a lot of champions that are new on this list. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, guys.
Told you I'll be here forever.
We have Valkyrie. She's still on the list. I did it from 15 to 1 on the epics. I can't say this is really in order on this list, although it's, you know, I guess we're going to get better as we go, maybe arguably, but it's hard to say anybody's better than Valkyrie, right? Because she's got the best shield in the game, and she's got counterattack. Still one of the only 3 champions, I've been saying that for 4 years here on the channel, that has counterattack in her kit. She's a defense-based champion with good speed, incredible defense, almost 1600. The scalability is incredible there. She does a lot of damage too. She's actually being used in Platinum Arena right now. She's everywhere, and she has this jealousy passive. This champion's turn meter will be increased by 10% each time an enemy champion places a buff. Enemy champions will have their turn meter decreased by 10% for each buff they receive. Dude, I mean, that's nasty in the arena, especially in this meta, but it's really nasty everywhere. Valkyrie's certainly an amazing champion. All right, next up, guys, is going to be this. She would not be at the bottom of the list if I was ranking it, so there's no particular order here, guys. It's going to be Lydia. Lydia the Death Siren, certainly still one of the most powerful champions in the game, guys. She's got the, you know, the A1. It's counterattacking anytime that they place freeze, stun, fear, true fear, petrification on an ally. You got a poison sensitivity, increased duration. We've got fear on the A1. On the A2, we got decreased defense. We got weaken. We got strengthen and increased speed. I've said it before, but like, everybody thinks of Lydia, at least people that I talk to, and the first thing they talk about is her death hold, like that unique deny revival and revive your team instead, and ignoring block revive too. It's crazy, but this A2 is also crazy. I mean, we look at champions like Venus and Dracomorph for having both weaken and decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown, but she's bringing strengthen and increased speed on the same ability. She's nasty. Also has poison sensitivity, block buffs, and block active skills on a 3-turn cooldown if that wasn't enough for you guys. Definitely a worthy champion, of the difficult task of completing all the faction wars. I forgot who your name was, but somebody in yesterday's video commented that they just finished all the faction wars and they just got Lydia, so congratulations if that was you.
I'm very attracted to you.
Oh.
Would you be interested in having an affair?
I knew this day would come.
Warlord. He's still one of the goats of the arena, man. A lot of HP, decent speed, got the defense, Orcish Rituals, man, attacks all enemies. 100% chance of putting each target skills on cooldown. Obviously, block debuffs is not going to do anything against this ability. It's just insane. 60% chance to fully deplete target's turn meter as well. Good God, that's a beast ability for the arena. Protection of Gods. We got block debuffs for 1 turn, places a shield and a heal on a 3-turn cooldown. Warlord is still really just cream of the crop when it comes to arenas champions, or to support in other areas too. That nice heal, block debuffs, and the shield. Not to mention great for control basically anywhere, in any Doom Tower wave or anything like that. So tremendous, tremendous champion. All right, next up is going to be a Skinwalker, guys. This might be a little controversial, maybe not, I don't know, but Mighty Uko, right? So just to make sure I wasn't forgetting anybody super obvious, I consulted a few different tier lists. I'll put those links in the show notes below so you guys can kind of compare. And both tier lists that I consulted did not have Mighty Uko in the top 25. So maybe I'm alone on an island here, but I mean, he's a reviver with 2 strong AoEs, and he's super fast base speed at 109. I mean, check this out. AoE decrease attack, 75% on the A1. Another AoE, each hit has a 100% chance when both to remove 2 random buffs. So 2 times 2 buffs is almost as good as a remove all buffs right there, right? Then we're placing block buffs and a decreased accuracy on targets that have no buffs after the attack. Great ability for Hydra, great ability for the arena. Uko's Mercy revives all dead allies on a 4-turn cooldown, 40% HP block damage for 1 turn, increased speed on all allies. It will place that increased speed even if there are no dead allies, which can be kind of annoying at times, honestly. Sometimes I shut that ability off for Hydra, and then if I need it, I'll put it on auto for a second, I'll revive, or on manual rather, I'll revive and then I'll put it back on auto. Anybody else do that too? Also, Totem Warden is really cool. 50% chance of stealing a random buff from a random enemy each time a buff is placed on the enemy team. Only attempt to steal 1 buff from each type of buff placed simultaneously, but any stolen buffs are protected too. Dude, that's a really annoying passive to go against in the arena, and then bring speed in all battles. Golly, what a great champion to me. Just one of my faves. Next up is Supreme Kael. Timeout! This is something a little bit different, guys. This is Ash post-edits, post-recording this video. Supreme Kael was the next legendary on my list today. However, after playtesting him for a lot longer than I did when I initially made this video, I cannot say that he's a top 15 champion in my own personal opinion. He is, yes, an amazing champion who does not require accuracy on all of his abilities. He's placing down poisons. He's a really, really good champ. But I am super underwhelmed with the damage that he's been able to put out on Hydra and other areas that I thought he would really excel in the game. That being said, again, fantastic champion. Like, I would grade him a 4.5 out of 5 or a 9 out of 10. But I just think there's other champions out there who deserve to be on the list more so than him. So instead of just leaving him on and putting this as a pinned comment, I thought I'd interject in my own video. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna insert my choice instead of Supreme Kael right about now. All right, guys, so I was thinking about who are going to be the champions that you guys comment about that I snubbed the most in this video. This is an impossible video. Shame on me for even making it, but I had fun anyway. I think it comes down to 3 champions for my biggest snubs, my own personal opinion, Ash of the Future. I think that Tawanarok, spoiler, these champions are not in the rest of the list. Tawanarok, excuse me, who I love, right? We have Nekret, who, come on, like, how can I not include Nekret the Great, dude? I mean, come on, right? But I think who I'm going to give it to that's not on the list, I think the biggest snub was, I think, Brogni. I think Underpriest Brogni. He just does so much, man. He's got the HP burn on the A1, right? He's got the 3-turn cooldown, a chance at removing a random buff from all enemies, removing a 100% chance of removing a debuff from all allies, increase the value of all shield. He's on the world's freaking best clan boss team. Then we have another 3-turn cooldown, block debuffs for 2 turns, increase attack for 2 turns, a shield equal to 30% of this champion's max HP, which scales so well. And then whenever anybody under a shield is attacked, it reflects that damage back to the attacker. Also heals that ally by 25% of the damage inflicted on the shield. Man, I think that he just brings so much to the table that I'm going to give it to Brogni, man. So, sorry, Supreme Kael. Again, let me just tell you. Let me just elongate the video even more needlessly here. But Supreme Kael, man, like, listen. He's got an AoE weakened. He's got the AoE 3 poisons, increase the duration of all debuffs. He's got the AoE increase accuracy, decrease resistance that cannot be resisted. And then he's got that passive, man. This kit is nasty. An amazing champion, and who knows, maybe one day I will rue the day that I took him off of my list. He had it, he clenched it in his fist, then it slipped out. But for me, again, early results, maybe my expectations were, you ever go to a movie and your expectations are just way too high, and then you're a little disappointed even though it was a great movie? That's me and Supreme Kael. All right, back to the video. This is another champion that was on nobody's top 25, not even close.
What? Me?
Before you laugh, hear me out. I think that this dude has seen a massive value spike. Sand Devil and Ice Golem Hard, right? 2 areas where he's one of the best champions in the game. And listen, when there's new difficult content that comes out, and there's one champion who's incredibly well suited to handle both of it with the best, better than most of any champion in the game, to me, that vaults them up the ranking. So I don't feel bad about walking Tomb Drang on my list, guys. HP-based champion with a lot of base HP, to almost over 23k. He has instant activation, HP burn on his A1 ability. Super strong. And there's not like a 50% chance to instantly activate. It's just instant activation. On his A2, 3-turn cooldown, 100% HP burn for 2 turns. Can't be resisted. Shh. Super strong. Then he has the equalized HP of all allies, attacks 1 enemy. You guys can read the rest. But I tell you what, this Death's Balance is not a bad ability to have as well. It's a cool little heal ability. Also, decrease the cooldown of the A2 ability, so you can potentially get this down to a 2-turn cooldown. If the target's current HP is higher than this champion's current HP after the swap. On his passive, reflects 30% of the damage this champion receives back to the attacker if it has 50% HP or more. Deals 30% more damage instead if this champion has less than 50% HP. Dude, I really like this champion, man. I do not, again, you can hate on me in the comments if you want to, but for me, that's probably my biggest reach of the video. But I stand by that, man. I stand by that. An Ice Golem, hard, any of the levels, 10 especially, can't be resisted. 3-turn cooldown, a lot of HP. Put him in regen, he can solo Sand Devil. Very, very good. All right, number 19, or working backwards here, we have Lady Kimmy. Lady Kimmy is still one of my faves, one of the fastest champions in the game at 115 base speed. She's got speed and Doom Tower battles by 30% on the aura. On the A1, we are attacking 1 enemy, then the enemy with the highest turn meter will attack the same enemy twice if the initial target has the highest turn meter. The second hit has a 50, make it a 60% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 15%. That's great. She's going to target the highest turn meter and deplete it. On the A2, we have, on a 3-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies, decrease accuracy, decrease speed, decrease target's turn meter by 15%. It's a great control ability, has a decreased accuracy as well. Love it. And then we have block buffs on all enemies, removing a random buff from each enemy, place a block buffs on all enemies and who have buff removed, and then fills the turn meter of all allies, places increased accuracy on all allies, increased speed on all allies as well. And then, whenever this champion places a debuff on an enemy, also decreases the enemy's turn meter by 5% for each debuff placed. Whenever the champion or an ally receives a debuff, fills their turn meter by 5% for each debuff received. I love her in Hydra, love her in Arena, love her in any dungeon.
I've killed a hell of a lot of people to get to this point. But I have only one more.
While we're here, Ninja. Definitely still on my list, man. Hail Burn is still a very special ability. We are placing HP burn and we're also activating said HP burns. So there you go, guys. That is insane damage. A very, very unique and special ability. Scion Slash also is an AoE freeze. When used against boss, will do extra damage. He has the escalation that gives him more damage over time for each of his abilities used. Just a really, really special champion. I'm sorry if you started playing after he was released, guys. So many shout outs here. So many champions I love, like Rio Bone Spear, who didn't make the list. Harima, who is one of my favorite arena champions, but to me, well, you know, I'm not gonna talk about champions who aren't on the list. I'll let you guys do that in the comments. So next up is going to be Prince Kymar. Kymar is still the jack of all trades. He really is one of the most versatile champions in the game, right? Got the AoE poison on the A1, great for dragon, whatever. He's got Abyssal Gaze, attacks all enemies, removes all buffs, and then puts them to sleep. It's an amazing ability to set up for the arena. Speaking of arena, he's got to read a speed in all battles by 30% on his aura. And then Seal of Magic. He's the ultimate reset champion for your Seer teams, for your Poison activation teams. I mean, just an incredible champion in the PvP and PvE. That's what makes him so special. You can use him really anywhere in the game. Next up, guys, we're actually going to go right back to Shadowkin. I snubbed Rio. I snubbed Harima. However, I'm not going to snub Kyoku. Kyoku is a champion that is so incredibly special when we talk about ally protectors in this game, right? One of the best progression champions, for my money, in the game. She is an absolute carry. You're seeing her used on all the best teams, or at least most of the best teams, on the hard dungeons, Ice Golem specifically, just because they deal so much damage. And she's placing an ally protect for 2 turns, and then a block damage on herself for 3 turns, and then an extra turn. Basically, she's mitigating 50% of damage to everybody else vis-a-vis the ally protect, and then she's putting block damage on herself so she's not dying. That's a very, 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 I can't even say underrated. It's an amazing ability, right? I think that if you have her, if you use it, you recognize she's mitigating all this damage, but it's almost like she has Stone Skin, aka block damage. She's just not taking any damage herself. The ultimate ally protector in this game. She's also got an AoE decrease attack on the A2. Every time this champion's hit with a critical hit, heals all allies by 15% of their max HP. Places an increased defense on all allies for 2 turns. Heck, you can use her in the arena. Will place 3 hits if the target's under 3 or more debuffs on the A1. Each hit brings the big version of Weaken as well. Kyoku, to me, is just, she makes the list because she's the best tank out there. Certainly for PvE, maybe Ursaga or something for PvP, but just incredible. Allied defense in all battles as well by 30% on the aura. All right, we have one of my personal faves, guys. One of my personal faves. It is Mr. Nekmothar. I love this little bug, man. I love him. He's so good. Speed in all battles by 19%, right? An AoE on the A1 would decrease attack. 100% if they're under any debuffs. Love to see it. An AoE on a 3-turn cooldown on the A2. We get decreased speed and we get leech, so 2 AoE hits. Then we get an increased speed on all allies for 2 turns. Fills a turn meter of all allies by 30%. And then gives the freaking bug an extra turn. What? Then look at this passive. Fills this champion's turn meter by 5% each time a debuff on an enemy is removed, transfers, or expires. He's taking so many turns. He is unbelievable. He's like the engine of Raid Shadow Legends because he's putting out so many debuffs, decrease attack, decrease speed, and leech, especially Hydra, that like they're always, and they get the extra turn abilities too. They're always falling off. He's getting turn meter all over the place from Rune of Haste. He's getting speed boosts to everybody else on the team, increased speed to everybody, AoEs on top of AoEs. Decreased speed is hard to find. You get the leech. I mean, this guy's incredible champion. I think he's one of the, S-tier Hydra champions, certainly, but really you can use him anywhere. If you're lucky enough to pull this guy early game, I mean, he'll carry you forever, dude. He's a really cool champion. 3 really important debuffs: decrease attack, leech, and decrease speed. That can just bring so much utility to the table. All right, next up is going to be, I feel like I had to include Helicath, guys, because to me, he's still the king of block damage. He's the king of unkillable teams. He has the big version of Weaken, which is so nice that it ignores shield and block damage, because I don't know how many times on some of those faction wars or secret rooms or whatever, the enemy will have block damage, and I'll go back to my computer or my device and I'll see my team's been at it for 45 minutes hitting the same target. Not with Helicath on there. He'll just ignore it. So that's a nice little added bonus to his kit. He's a defense-based champion with a lot of defense. He's got a shield based on his defense, a la Valkyrie. Not quite as strong, but still a great shield on his A2. And then the block damage for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. When the block damage is gone, it replaces it with an increased defense as well. You guys can see the passive as well, and it has defense in all battles by 30%. For me, again, Helicath is the king of unkillable in Raid Shadow Legends. Next up is Sylvan Watchers, guys. Elva Autumnborn. Elva's a great champ. I kind of slept a little bit on Elva at first when she initially came out. I didn't think she was a trashy champion or anything like that. But man, first of all, she's very fast, 110 base speed. She's got a continuous heal, big version, for 2 turns on the ally with lowest HP on the A1. You love that, right? Like keeping those alive who need it the most. On the A2, we have 100% cleanse. We have block debuffs for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, and increased speed for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Very strong. And then we have a single target revive on a 3-turn cooldown, 40% HP, 50% turn meter. Then increase defense and increase attack on that ally for 2 turns as well. So super easy to keep them alive with that big version of increased defense. And it's only on a 3-turn cooldown with a half turn meter. But then the Leaf Shroud, to me, is what puts her over the top. If she didn't have this passive, I probably wouldn't have her on my top 25, but she'd be really close too. But then you add this to it, and I cannot ignore her. Heals each ally by 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn. Plays a Perfect Veil for 1 turn on the ally with lowest HP at the end of this champion's turn. So Perfect Veil, again, we're getting that 15% damage mitigation from AoE attacks that can't be targeted by single target attacks. And then we get that heal every turn, a la like a Syl the Drakes, right? So strong, really incredible champion. Speed in all battles by 19 as well. Really love Elva, guys. All right, next up is going to be a not so new champion for a change, Cardiel. Cardiel's still so good. Great base stats here. He's got on the A1, he's got a True Fear if they're under certain factions. Heals all allies by 7.5% of their max HP. It's not a great heal, but it's a heal on an A1, an AoE heal at that. Angel Song. Oof. This is like Skytouch Shaman on crack on the A2. It's a cleanse. We get block debuffs for 2 turns, revive on death for 2 turns. Revive on death is protected, cannot be removed on a 3-turn cooldown. Wow, that's really strong. Then he has an ally attack with increased crit damage, increased crit rate as well. If an enemy is killed, it decreases the cooldown of the skill. And then you guys can read the passives, but has that synergy against different factions. Speed in all battles by 19%. What a carry champion. Ally attack and the cleanse and the revive on death and the block debuffs. Good God. All right, the next one, guys, is going to be Ratman. Again, I am a little biased on this dude. I love Nishak Verminlord, guys. I love this champ, man. He does so much damage.
Look at the damn.
Unclean Banquet attacks everybody, places a bomb for 2 turns, placing 2 bombs, for 2 turns, then gives them an extra turn. Bomb debuffs placed by this champion whose max HP is equal to or higher than 200k will deal double damage, aka bosses. So it's on a 4-turn cooldown, but because of the extra turn, we're really bringing it down to a 3-turn cooldown. Then we come in with an AoE attack, 100% decrease attack on a 3-turn cooldown. Also has a 100% chance of decreasing the detonation countdown of all bombs by 1 turn, increasing the duration of all poisons by 1 turn. And then 3 times at random with a 50% chance of placing another bomb for 2 turns. And the same thing with the bomb damage. Every time a bomb debuff placed by this champion detonates or is removed, places 2 poisons, protected poisons. Oh my God, between the bombs and the poisons everywhere, this dude just clears out everything. He can destroy Bommel. Have you seen what he can do to Bommel? It's incredible. I really think that Nishak is such a really incredible champion. What a cool Christmas fusion or fragment summon, whatever he was. Really, really love that dude. All right, next up is going to be Yumeko. We talked about Kymar, we talked about Warlord, now we'll talk about Yumeko. She's a kind of a combination of the two. It's really unfair because she's bringing quite a bit more to the table as well, but she's got the Dance of Time. One of the stronger abilities in the game. Decrease the cooldowns of all ally skills by 3 turns. Increase the cooldown of enemy skills by 3 turns. 3 turns, 95% of the time is really all you need anyway, you know? gonna totally put them on cooldown. Really, really strong. She can be a seer, she can be a seer activator, a poison activator, Eleanor, whatever, Theodore, in a Kymar type role, or she can be in the arena in a warlord type role. She has that Hex that she's placing, and then the deflect debuffs, which is really cool against like a Bommel. You can send all those bombs right back to him. And then Perfect Veil in this champion for 2 turns at the start of each round. This champion is immune to all debuffs if they're under a Veil or Perfect Veil debuff. Really strong passive there as well, especially for the arena. And then she's got a 2-time steel turn meter on the A1. Yumeko is fantastic. We just mentioned his name, guys. But man, I wasn't going to put all the poison activators, Xavier, Eleanor on the list, but I'm definitely going to put Theodore the Savant. He's a defense-based champion, first of all. Look at his base stats, 21k almost on the HP, 1200 on the defense, 105 speed, and AoE decreased speed on the A1, 50% chance at landing. Just great ability to just kick things off. We have Savant's Savvy, 3-turn cooldown. We have a chance of placing 2 poisons and a poison sensitivity on all enemies. Also, big version of increased speed while we're at it on all allies. Sure, great. And then Chemistry, the 3-turn cooldown A3 increases the duration of all poisons and HP burns, then instantly activates said HP burns and poisons, and then a weaken if they're not under any of those debuffs. So the instant activation just makes him an absolute maniac when it comes to damage. Easy to keep alive. His resist goes up for each poison on the enemy team. Really a big fan of this champion. Definitely a game changer in terms of speeding up your runs if you're lucky enough to pull this dude. All right, next up is going to be, we only have like 9 champions left here, guys. And there's a lot of great champions left in the game. All right, it is Pythion. So Pythion is a beast.
Wow.
So another newish champion, right? 2-time hitter heals the ally with the lowest HP by 5% of this champion's max HP after each hit. Solid heal because you can scale that up, the HP. It's only 5%, but it's each hit, so 10% their max HP. It's a full cleanse on a 3-turn cooldown. Then you get a heal by 10% of their max HP, an extra heal for each debuff removed, and then block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown for 2 turns. Whew, good ability. And then revive everybody, 50% HP, 50% turn meter, strengthen on all allies for 2 turns. This is on a 4-turn cooldown. That's crazy, man. It's a really good revival there. And then allies receive 5% less damage from skills for each buff on them, stacks up to 25%. A la Duchess, right? It's a very Duchess-like passive, provided that you need the 5 debuffs to get the full 25, or the 5 buffs to get the full 25% damage mitigation. But what a powerful passive. I say it all the time, but it's like a built-in strengthen just all the time that stacks with strengthen too, right? So very, very, very good support champion pretty much anywhere in the game, PvE, PvP, you name it. All right, next up is going to be Taurus. Don't have him. Really want him.
Nice try.
What an insanely good champion. So annoying to go against in the arena. Good God. He's got turn meter of all allies fill on the A1. On the A2, attacks 1 enemy, places a stun debuff for 2 turns, deals double damage to enemies whose attack is equal to or higher than this champion's attack. This is on a 3-turn cooldown, a 2 stun, no big deal. Double damage, hits like a truck. Constant pressure, hits like a Mack truck. Attacks all enemies, damage increased by 15% for each buff on allies. Then increases the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn while we're at it. Heals the champion by 5% for each buff that had its duration increased while we're at it. And restores max HP equal to the amount of any surplus heal. Good God. All right, Fierce Battler. We have, when attacked, decrease enemies' attack by 10% up to 50%, 25 against bosses. Plays a fear. This is so annoying too. Plays a fear debuff on all enemies from Ogryn, Orcs, Undead Horde, and Demon Spawn factions at the beginning of each round for 1 turn and cannot be resisted. Come on, man. So many Demon Spawn champions I like running in arena. I have to be careful around this dude. All incoming damage from skills reduced by 50% while we're at it. When attacked, this champion's max HP will be decreased by 25% of the attack's initial damage before the damage reduction. Dude, Taurus is a monster. God, I want that champion. Okay. Siphi, still on the list, guys. You'll notice, by the way, a lot of champions who,
So pick me. Choose.
Well, whatever. I'm going to stop talking about snubs. Necra, I love you so much. I digress. Back to Siphi. She got the sleep on the A1. Irresistible, provided they have 50% turn meter or more. We have a block debuff. We got to increase defense. We got to increase speed. We got a turn meter fill. We got everything on this A2 ability. And then an insanely good revival here. 4-turn cooldown with a full turn meter, 55% HP. And then, of course, that passive heal that we spoke about, 10% of the max HP at the start of their turn. And then we have a chance at removing freeze and fear from all allies at the start of their turn as well. Rotos gets it guaranteed removed. So, you know, one of the fastest champions in the game as well. 114 speed, one less than Lady Kimmy there. Just an incredible champion to this day, right? Even after the nerf. For those of you who don't remember, this used to be a 3-turn cooldown. Wow, that was broken right there. All right, next up is going to be I got 5 left for you guys. Mithrala, Lifebane. Mithrala, very, very special champion. She's got the poisons on the A1. She's got the AoE, Hex, increased defense, decreased defense, all on a 3-turn cooldown. Woo! Especially after they buffed Hex, which is around the same time she was introduced to the game, vis-a-vis Hydra Clan Boss. This is a great ability, man. Great ability for Hydra and really anywhere else. Giving a big version of increase and attack and defense and Hex is fantastic. She's also bringing the big version of Strengthen on a 3-turn cooldown with a great shield equal to 30% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, and the Cleanse. Not only that, but she's putting Petrification on everybody. I've said this before, but you can make a case, I feel like, that she's the strongest champion in the game. You really could, because this last line too is just so insane for the arena, really anywhere. Increases this champion's resistance, the amount of which is increased is equal to the accuracy this champion has. So you can just build her with, you know, 700 accuracy and you get 700 resist on the champion as well. Really, really, really special champion there. And then we shouldn't have left. We didn't go far. It's Marichka, the Unbreakable here. She's got the random ally will join the attack on the A1. On the A2, we get the fully restore allies decrease max HP, then heals allies by 40% of this champion's max HP. That's one of the strongest heals in the game. And then places a shield and a protected strengthen buff on all allies. The shield is 20% of this champion's max HP after she heals them. Wow. Then we get a cleanse. Fills a turn meter of all allies by 15%, fills a turn meter of an extra 5% for each debuff removed from them, and then grants an extra turn if 5 or more debuffs were removed. What? Increases the resistance of all allies by 5 for each debuff removed as well. Revives all dead allies with 50% HP and 75% turn meter whenever she's killed. Places a block damage on all allies for 1 turn whenever they receive a bomb, poison, or HP burn debuff. Good God. Going against like a Mithrala in the, or anybody for that matter, right? Anybody who's throwing poisons or HP burns or bombs at us, it only has to be 1 ally who receives a poison and everybody on the team gets block damage. Broken champion. 24 speed in all battles on the aura. All right, 3 left, guys. Of course, we're going to get to... No. Yes. It's Krisk. Krisk the Ageless. He's still there. He's got a boatload of defense, 15-20. He's got the AoE decrease speed a la Naya, the White Dryad. Same A1. Theodore the Savant, same A1. Decreased speed at a 50% clip on a defense-based A1. AoE attack on the A2 as well. 3-turn cooldown. Ally Protect. Continuous heals on this champion. Increase the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn. What a powerful ability there. We got to Provoke on everybody on a 3-turn cooldown. Increase defense on this champion. Increase speed on everybody else. Every time he's hit, he's placing decreased defense and decreased attack on the attacker. That's a 100% chance of happening when booked. And then he has a shield at the start of each round equal to 50% of his max HP. Wow. Every time I read it, and I've read it a million times here, I am just bum-puzzled by how incredible that champion is. Of course, Duchess is going to be on the list as well, guys. She got the shield on the A1. She got the perfect veil on all allies for 2 turns. Block debuffs and increase attack on all allies for 2 turns as well on Shroud of Souls. Then she has a 4-turn AoE revival on all dead allies, 70% HP, veil on all allies except this champion for 1 turn, continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns. Great revival, one of the best in the game. And then Ethereal Ways decrease the damage allies take from AoE attacks by 25%, 15 from bosses. So we talked about it with Pytheon, that passive damage mitigation is so valuable in this game. She also has speed in all battles by 19%. One of the best champs out there, guys. I have one champion left. Who do you guys think it is? Who do you think it is? Fortis! Nah, I'm just joking. Actually, I have two champions left now that I look at it, so you get a bonus. We get a tie for number one, guys. It's going to be the two best damage dealers in Raid Shadow Legends, for my money, right? For PvP, it's Jirgid the Breaker, the Nutcracker, right? He just does absolutely absurd damage, ignores everything known to the raid gods. Strengthen, Stone Skin, Unkillable, block damage, increased defense, ally protection, shields, everything ignored. There's an extra turn. It should say after you kill an enemy, not if it kills an enemy. Deals insane damage. And then we have an AoE, decreased turn meter by 30%, can't be resisted. Unkillable if you kill an enemy, which you usually do. Insane multipliers. Just a very, very, very incredible, just super OP champion in the arena. And then his counterpart, the best champion in the game in terms of damage dealers by far for PvE content, Acrizia. Enemy max HP ability on every single attack, and on the passive, decreases damage taken from AoE attacks by 50%. If a target's max HP is more than double this champion's max HP, this champion's attacks will deal damage based on the target's max HP instead of this champion's attack. So see how it scales on attack? Well, against bosses, which she excels at, you don't even have to worry about building her with a lot of attack, right? Because as long as, again, their HP is higher than hers, the target, she's going to be dealing it off their HP, you know, their max HP, and her attack doesn't matter. So that was one of the, you know, like, let me show you I think we have this rotation going on right now. My first Hydra clan boss battle, where am I going? My first Hydra clan boss battle with my girl Acrizia. Okay, let me show you. Let me flex on this. I mean, this is brutal difficulty, right? 177 million. 86 mil from Acrizia. I mean, good God, that's insane. So, Michinaki, by the way, another champion that I could have included on the list. Guys, go ahead and let me have it. Who did I snub? I know I snubbed a million amazing champions, but I wasn't going to make this list top 50. Maybe I should have. Guys, let me know who you agree with, who you disagree with. Appreciate you guys watching until the end of the video. You're the real OGs. Thank you, guys. And as always, take care, guys.